Hi everyone, it's time to look at what I colored in September. I colored less pictures that I had planned because I didn't feel well in the end of month and I also had less free time due to my work. But still, I did couple of pictures which I really like and I'm proud of. I started with Hannah Lynn's picture from Coloring Heaven magazine. First I planned to do Princess at the Well, but then I switched to Pinocchio. For this picture I combined different mediums. For the background I used Neocolors too, and I love that they created nice matte, a little bit chalky background. For the hair I used underpaint with Copic blue alcohol-based marker. Of course it bleeded through, but it created a nice undertone, and then I added all other details using my Prismacolor pencils, and I love that they created a little bit waxy shiny surface, and it helps to distinguish a fairy from the background. It was easy and quite interesting coloring. Next, I was happy to return to my Curiosity Chapeau. It was a request from one of my patrons, and for a long time I wanted to color this knights, this armory. As usual, I used here watercolors for background, and I explained in my video that maybe this warm yellow-green wasn't the perfect choice, but still I'm happy that I managed to add these details for the window and created a stained glass window. And again I'm happy how I colored all metal parts. For the armory I used mix of Prismacolors and Kohinoor Mondeluz pencils. It's a little bit strange picture due to all those wooden fence, or I don't know what it is around the armory, but in the end I am happy that I finished it. I also did a picture from Game of Thrones, and for a long time I wanted to color Daario Naharis, but I didn't know how to select colors for his hair and for his clothes, because I wanted him to be as close to the description in the book, but I also didn't want to make him ridiculous with all those blue hair. But then I stopped on the black blue and I was happy. Again I used watercolors and mix of Prismacolors and Kohinoor Mondeluz for the details. Another one finished project in this book and another step for to complete this book, and I hope that maybe before the next season of the Game of Thrones I will manage to finish it. I'm glad that for this picture I deliberately didn't did any details on the background. I colored only with big color areas, and in this way all our attention goes to Dario, where I colored each and every small details on his clothes and on his armory. Now it was interesting and also not very complicated. In my lovely flower yearbook I managed to finish 3 pictures, and of course my happiest moment was when I discovered that it's possible to color with watercolor paints, and paper behaved absolutely amazing. I didn't have problems with bleeding through. My paints laid down very well. I was able to mix, to create washes. I didn't got any stains. And my paints remain bright, so I'm happy and I plan to do more and more pictures using my watercolors. Next, I did this beautiful September page, one of my favorites in the whole book, and I tried to create a very detailed tutorial. You can find it on my channel and I will leave you a link, and I tried to explain how I colored each detail. I think that my favorite part here is leaves. They are quite nice. Next, I did this fuchsia page, and fuchsia is one of my favorite home plants. I love to grow it and I'm quite familiar how flowers look, how leaves look, so it also was interesting to color it. It took quite considerable amount of time because here we have so many leaves, but I am happy with the result. But I am not happy that I have only two uncolored pages with names of months. I think that I have to color October and April, and then all 12 pages will be finished. And step by step I am going to the end of this beautiful book. It was a surprise for me that I managed to do 3 pictures from Maria Trolle, who is not my favorite artist, but still I did 3 pictures and I really enjoyed. From this nightfall I did page when I started to experiment is it possible to color with watercolor paints also, and experiment again was quite successful. Of course, paper here is far from real watercolor paper. It's too smooth and it doesn't absorb water and paint very well, but if you have patience, then you can work in layers and you will get pretty decent result. I'm happy with my little deer. I think that this picture look a little bit like illustration for the fairy tale. I'm glad how I colored deer and flowers, and I also proud that I added some details. I did this frame around pictures and I added some leaves. I used Prismacolor pencils, then soft pastels for the background and dark brown acrylic paint for this frame. And of course I used a black fine liner to draw all those small leaves which I added. I finally started Botanicum, and paper here is even more smooth, but it also thicker, so I decided to also test how will my watercolor paints will behave, and it was interesting experiment. I didn't have problems with bleeding through, but paper absorbed paints and they became considerably lighter after they dried. So I have to apply layer after layer, and in this way I was able to get the brightness and richness of color which I desired. But I think that my little town looks very sweet. I think it was interesting and I definitely will use watercolors in this book. You just have to get used to the paper. I was disappointed with my magical dawn. I planned to do at least 4 pictures here, and I started with a picture with cute mouses. I thought that it will be interesting color combo, and I was happy before I got completely lost which colors I need to add, and in my opinion somehow this picture looks boring. I don't know how to correct it, so I didn't want to mess it up completely. I decided to stop for some time and to return to it later. I'm not unhappy, I just don't know yet how to finish it. And I managed to do only one other picture here. So not happy with the amount, but happy with the quality. I'm absolutely proud of this picture. I believe that this one is one of my greatest results during all my 2.5 years of coloring. Again, I used here mix of different mediums, watercolor for the background, Prismacolor pencils mostly, and of course white gel pen. It was very time consuming with all those small leaves and especially with my trying to create a realistic fur, but in the end I am absolutely happy. Maybe this is one and only picture which I really wanted if it would be possible to frame it. But as it's impossible, I will store it in my book and I will try to do more pictures from Magical Dawn next month. After long hours of coloring cat, I decided to switch to something much more easier and maybe more positive. So I went for Mermaids in Paradise by Dennis Clett. I have one unfinished project and this cute, sweet mermaid, reading mermaid, which I managed to finish. As usual, I used watercolors to create this perfect watercolor background and Prismacolors for details. I have pre-ordered Gnomes in Neighborhood by Dennis Clett, which have to be published somewhere in October, maybe 10th or 12th of October, and I can't wait when I get it. Another quite complicated project I finished in Ivy. It was very interesting and great possibility to practice my skills for coloring gold and steel and to try interesting color combos. By the way, have you seen Johanna's video on Instagram where she have shown pages from her new book about flowers? And I would like to know whether you like it or not. I wanted to color another picture from Ivy, one with crow and a lot of small details again, but then I didn't have enough time, so maybe I will do it in November. Another picture which I am really proud of is this fall vase from Manuel de Bonheur by Kanoko Yagusa. This picture has everything I really love. It has bright colors of the autumn leaves, it has nice cute animals, and Kanoko draws them so nicely that it was absolutely easy and quick to color them, to color fur. I enjoyed coloring on this paper so much because paper tools really helped to layer pencils and to mix pigment. I think that it's my second best picture of September. And I enjoyed process so much that I immediately started another picture. This one is a challenge for me because I'm interested in creating this effect of the backlight from the light source from the top of the page. But work goes quickly and I hope to finish it maybe in a day or two. Next, let me show you my art supplies haul in September. First, I purchased myself a set of Derwent graphite pencils. They are water soluble. This is color swatches. I made separate video about my first opinion from these pencils. I think that it's perfect autumn set. If you saw my review, you know that I had a problem with one of the pencils. It came split in two halves, but I contacted Derwent and they promised to send me another one. I hope that I finally got a replacement. Next, I have this new set of watercolor paints. They are from Ukrainian manufacturer, and I'm quite proud that now we have our own watercolor paints of nice quality. They position themselves as a professional. I don't know, but I am happy with the brightness, with richness of color, and they also has a very convenient, nice metal tin. Art stores in my country have a scarce choice of decent art supplies, so sometimes I just want to go and to cheer myself to purchase something, and I decided that new gouache paints uh, is a nice choice. They are always helpful. They have interesting colors, and again I have paints from two manufacturers. One is Masterclass, the same manufacturer who produce White Night watercolors, and second one is Ukrainian paint. So I have 5 new colors. I think I just have to color with gouache paints more. And the last thing which I wanted to put into this video, I got a question about how I plan my colorings and my videos. So I do all my plannings in this beautiful book by Masa Vanderberg. I have separate lists for the reviews and tutorials on the main channel. Then I have a list of books and pictures which were selected by my patrons, and also list of tutorials for my patrons, and small list of some skills which I want to practice myself, watching videos on YouTube. And I got a lot of different lists for myself. Here I put all my ideas which I got during the day, which I want to use for my next videos. So sometimes I'm a planning nerd. Talking about plans for October, I will continue to color all pictures which were ordered by my patrons, and of course I will add a lot of autumn pictures and pictures dedicated to the Halloween. Overall, September was a nice month. I am happy with my results. We still had some warm days here in Kiev, so I spent a couple of weekends outside of the city, and now we have quite cold and rainy days, so less walking around and more coloring will be waiting for me. I thank you for watching. I thank you for all your support, all your kind comments here on Instagram and on the Facebook, and also huge thank you to everyone who supported this channel via my affiliate links and on Patreon, of course. Have a happy October. See you soon.